Hi, I'm Myochi.
And I am Renee, and we are the 40 Spot Podcast. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome to 40 Spot, where we talk about the highs and lows and everything in between of being 40. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, share our past videos with your family, friends, co-workers, everyone that you know. Please follow us on social media platforms at the 40 spot, the number 40. Also, if you're following us on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you know when we go live. Also, anywhere where you get your podcast, follow us, comment, rate us, leave a comment.
Yes.
So,
Yes, so today we are together. So since we're
yes.
together on today's episode, we're going to talk friendships and how the dynamics change over time. But first, we're going to get into our While We Were Out segment. This is where we discuss news, entertainment, and personal experiences that have occurred since our last show. So, first on the docket, we have Sierra Gate. Dum dum dum. Child.
Miss Sierra, Russell Wilson's wife, Sierra, the R&B pop artist.
Yes,
If
dancer,
anybody, yeah.
twerker, and extraordinaire, all those things. And
Mm.
we call it Sierra Gate because it's like been two things swirling around the internet with her. The first one is her song. Oh shoot, what's the name of the song?
Girl, I should know the name of the song. Everybody been talking about it, but no one has really said what the name of the
The
song
song
is. I
is.
don't even think I know.
Well,
Oh,
while she looks that up, I'm gonna kind of just talk about the fact. So people have kind of just been talking about how, in this songs it's like, oh, you don't need a man, da 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 da, da. And she has like Russell Wilson and like girl be quiet, which I feel I don't know maybe because I did listen to the song because of the conversation around it, but I think she wasn't saying don't get a man. I just feel she's saying you know you don't have to worry about getting a man to do the things that you want to do. I don't know, but honey, the girls are mad because she said that, and they feel like she's not qualified to say these things because she has a man. I don't know what you
yeah,
think
and
about
then
that.
she's married also when she came out with her prayer, like she released
Mhm.
the prayer that she wanted God to answer in terms of her growth, her family, and what type of man that she wanted to attract and everything like that. So I think that's kind of what it is. It's a song called For the Girls.
Yeah,
That's the name of the
yeah, it's
song.
for the
For
girls.
the girls.
And I think she's saying, this is for the girls who don't have a man. Do your thing. Da 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 da. I don't know. I don't have an issue with the song. I just feel like she trying to uplift everybody who is listening to it. But you have an issue with the song?
Um I definitely understand people's reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um just because she is married and maybe there was a portion in the song um you know that's kind of it's not like it's okay to be single, but it's just like you don't need them guys or
Yeah.
whatever. So I can see the controversy, but I guess with me being older, I can separate if I know about the artist's private life, I can separate that from the entertainment portion. But I do understand that if you have your life on display and what you're putting out, there's such a huge contrast. I understand why people they are mad, because some people they're not able to differentiate, and they are true followers, and they are followers not that, oh, I'm going to buy your music, I'm going to support, I'm going to go to your concerts, but it's like I'm following your life and I'm seeing, hey, maybe things that you've said in interviews that relate to them, and
Mm-hmm.
you make yourself more relatable to some fans, and they really hang on to what you're doing and what's the contrast. And I think it's those people.
Yeah, and I feel like it's all about the literal stuff, right? So like taking it as the literal sense of what she says, meaning, oh, these are for the girls. So I pulled up the lyrics and she said
That's what
something
I
about,
did too.
oh, okay, G stands for girl like gangster, listen what I speak, don't talk till I say so, real G's work hard for the cake. So I don't know, let me go down because it's not even making sense.
Is that
No
G for
shade.
girls?
Yeah,
G is for girls.
for gangster. G is for girl
So,
like gangster. G is for girl like gangster.
but
What?
is that the name of the song?
I thought it was name of
I
the
don't
song
think.
was for the girls.
Yeah, but up
Child, is you
here
telling me
is
about the
that the
wrong song?
G is for girl.
Yeah,
You know what? We
child, we
could be all
stuck.
wrong.
No, that's the wrong song. It's not
Okay.
for the girls then. That's an old song.
Okay. Sierra the girls.
But what I'm trying to say is, I feel like, even if I say, oh, I don't need a man, that don't necessarily mean I don't want a man. It
Oh,
means I'm not going to wait until I have a man to do X, Y, and Z. And I think people are taking that tone of do your thing as do it and don't worry about a man. And it's like, but girl, you got one, you got a whole family.
so I'm pulled it up. Said this is for the girls getting money. This is for the girls who don't need a man. This is for the girls who love yourself. This is for the girls who's up and did it by themselves. This is for all the girls that is independent, but she spell it out. This is for all the girls that be living stress free. So, okay.
So what's wrong with that?
Nothing is, and I guess it's like, hey, I'm acknowledging if you feel that you don't need a man to do X, Y, and Z to obtain these things, this is for you and this is fine. And it says some people are just trying to find something negative to say about Sierra and Russell, and it's annoying. That's
Yes.
what Fernette said in the comment section. So I definitely agree with that. I and I will say this, you have to remember these are celebrities and they have PR people who know how to work algorithms, they know how to work the media. So they can purposely put things out that may not necessarily reflect what their true life is, but
Mm-hmm.
they just to keep people talking, people with the buzz. Maybe the numbers wasn't great with the song, but let's just put this out here and catch it on the blogs and
But that song, that's when she, I want to say when she first presented that song, maybe it wasn't doing numbers, but it's kind of like she didn't, I don't feel like she perpetuated that. I just feel like people didn't like it because for the whole don't need a man. And, but you got a man and you supposedly got this good man. And it's like, I don't think she's saying you don't need a man.
I don't think that she's saying it's like for those that do not need a man to get or obtain
Yeah.
these statuses or whatever. If you're getting money, you owning your own business. And as we said previously in one of our podcasts, that the number two people in the United States that are opening businesses are black females. So we out here getting it.
Yeah. And I
We
don't think,
killing it. Like we everywhere you look, there is some black woman, some black group of women that is doing their thing, and they're doing it on their own.
And I think there are so many phrases and terms that can be used that have different connotations. Yes, I don't need no man, and that's the connotation. Men ain't shit. I don't need no man, whatever, whatever. I could do this all by myself. But I think it's just the idea. There's the other side of it. Is like, hey, so no, I don't need a man to buy a house. I don't have to have a man because people do wait for that, and that's your choice. But if you choose to make decisions like becoming a mother, buying a house, starting a business, going to school, all these things, And you're like, that doesn't mean just because I didn't say I needed to wait on a man to get it that you don't want one. It's just, you know what, I'm gonna get out and get it myself. Fernanda in the comments also said that it's about mistreatment of women in the music industry, in every industry, and I think that's very true,
Yes.
because she's not the first person to say certain things. Men talk about men all the time and have a bunch of opinions about women, and like kind of going to the other part of the Sierra Gate with her dress. Now, I love the dress. I wish we had put it on here so that we could have posted it, because it's this big thing. So going from, not only do you have a man, Sierra, but you have a Christian man, and you're saying that you're a Christian woman and you're out here wearing this dress. So for anyone who didn't see the dress, it's all over the internet, so go look. But it very reminiscent of the dress that Rihanna wore, that was very see-through, had some diamonds on it, all the way down to the crack of her butt.
Mm-hmm.
She did also looks like she didn't have on a bra, but it was like pasties, because you couldn't see her nipples, and it didn't look like it was shaded out, so it probably had some like clear thing over it.
For
But
those, this is the dress. I mean, like, she looks great. She's 40 years old. She's had
is she
3
40?
kids. Yeah, she done made 40, honey.
I didn't know
You
that.
gotta think
Okay.
about when she came. She was a little bit younger than
Oh,
us.
I know, but I
But
didn't know she was 40. Okay, Sierra. She looks good. And I will say, to your point, that I think there's a lot of people hate on it because they can't. You know, and first of all, she didn't show up to this place like the only person dressed like that. It was a theme,
it was an Oscar party. And I'm gonna just say this. If I had her body, I'm wearing a fishnet too.
period. Oh,
Maybe
y'all got a
some dental
theme, and I
supply.
could do the theme?
Whatever it is, it's gonna be dental floss. Like,
Like,
y'all
for
gonna
real.
see. Exactly. Welcome to the 40 spot, Sierra.
Yes.
Like, girl, give it to them. Um, and I seen some other people in the comments that was saying, like, you cannot compare what you would wear at your age if you're not working in that particular industry. Like,
Exactly.
she is known to most people that are singers, R&B singers, pop singers, or whatever like that. They are known to wear very, very revealing things. A lot of it is cutting edge. Who knows? Could have been, and a lot of times they are paid to wear
Heck
certain
yes.
dresses by certain designers and stuff like that. And it's just one of a kind. And her husband was right there with her. So obviously he was okay. And it wasn't like, okay, we not getting dressed at the same place. And then,
And here's the thing, because that's part of the conversation. Here's two parts. So being a Christian woman means that you only can dress a certain way. Obviously, this is what people say, because not even just in her comment section, even on my social media, three people in their opinion. So number one, a Christian woman can only dress a certain way, because obviously, if you're covered from neck to feet, you're doing God's work. We know that's not true. First of all, secondly, and as a married woman, your husband has all rights over your body, because here's the truth. It could be that Russell did not like the dress, but
mm,
they also can have a relationship where he respects, okay, fine, this is what you do, and they could genuinely have a disagreement about it, but we're gonna agree to disagree, because I'm wearing this dress and I love you, and I ain't gonna be
right,
with nobody else tonight, because once again, people be dressed from their neck to their toes and out here in these streets living foul.
right,
And so I just think that even that conversation, and I'm not saying that people within your marriage, you decide to do what you want and how your dynamics of your relationship, but the idea that her man don't have control over her, so our men supposed to have control over us like that, or that he
hmm,
was okay with it. He may have truly not been okay with it, and they could actually have some contention about that. But
right,
also, he doesn't control her in that sense, because he's not her father, and she has autonomy in her body and what she puts on it. And yeah, and first of all, Sierra been doing this. This is part of who she is. It's part of her as the artist.
mm-hmm,
And when he married her, he wasn't like, so now that we're married, yeah, so don't be that person.
right.
Anyway, some
So
may say that's easy for me to say because I'm not married, but yeah, no, I plan to still have autonomy over my body. That don't mean that I'm like, I
yeah,
don't care what you say, but ultimately,
exactly. I mean, it's just one of those things where and it's like, oh, you're gonna have men gawking over her. They have security. Guess what? Those men who gawking over her, if they ever try to step to it, trust me, they have already been stopped, subdued, and turned around. If not, they're gonna do just like that guy went with Dave Chappelle. They gonna take his arm off and put it back on backwards.
Listen, and at the end of the day, men gawk, okay? At the end, don't matter what you have on. So why would I?
Thank
And
you.
I'm just being honest. I have a heavier chest, and it doesn't matter if I have on. Yes, you can see more, but I don't get any different looks if I have on a low cut shirt as opposed to a sweater. People still look just because they're there.
Yeah.
So
It is
whatever.
not like it like people that are in certain countries that women cannot show their hair. Some countries they can't show their face, or that's all that they can show, their face and their hands and their feet. There is still crimes against women
Women,
there, and they are
exactly.
totally covered up. They're not even wearing nothing to be
To
revealing
revealing,
or anything
exactly.
like that. So guess what? They still gonna do, if the man is just like a robber.
If they
You can,
robbing
but
you, baby, they
you can
robbing
stay
you.
behind the gates. You can have bars on your windows. You can have security and all that other kind of stuff. You can still have a cat burglar to get in there.
And not a cat burglar.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
like,
Is it? I
I'm
mean, it's the
like,
same way. It's like if they want to try to holler, they're gonna try to holler, and if they're gonna try to, God forbid, just try to do something against you, they are going to do it. I don't think what a woman wears has any bearings on anything, because there's too many incidents where people have, you know, all kind of egregious things has happened to
exactly.
them, and then some people, they have been all sorts of nudity and everything, and nothing has happened to them.
And it's also a ban on culture, right? Because like in a lot of beaches outside of the U.S., like wearing a speedo, wearing a thongs, people don't think twice about
That
that.
is
Even
true.
on new beaches, people will have their children because it's not a culture of your body parts showing being so sexualized. It's like, okay, there's a penis, there's a dick, there's some breasts, there's some,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's because of how we try to amass sexuality so they can sell it, because that ultimately, because sex
Hmm.
sells, so we want to confine it, because if we confine it, then we can sell it and we
Yes.
can monetize off of it. And that is where this idea of bad and good with certain things come from. Speaking of,
Yes.
but just kind of transitioning on the other entertainment piece, Mr. Lance Redis, am I saying that right?
Reddick.
Reddick, thank you.
Hmm.
He died. Was it this weekend? It was
Hmm.
this. Okay, he died at 60, and if you
60 years.
don't know, he was in The Wire. Earlier today, you were telling me he was in John Wick
All
series.
of them, even the new one that is coming up, and I don't know if they've, because they're supposed to have 5 installments. The fourth one is supposed to come out next month
Mm-hmm.
or later at this month. So I'm not exactly sure if they've already filmed the fifth one. But he was had a prominent role there, and as the series went on, you could tell that they focused a little bit more on his part, his character and stuff. So it wasn't just like a supporting, a
Yeah,
minor supporting role. He's been in a new series on Netflix called Resident Evil. I loved him in that. It's very few things that I have not liked him in. Also, he has a very, very distinctive voice. So he has done a lot of voices in the
like
cartoon
voiceovers and
and
stuff.
anime and stuff like that. So he is one of those people. He's always been booked and busy, even from 2022 up until currently now.
Did they say what he died from?
They said that it was natural causes. That's what came out.
Okay.
Um, but at least they didn't say anything in terms of foul play. They just said that he passed away in his sleep. So I
Yeah.
don't know if he had any type of pre-existing medical conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure,
Yeah.
cholesterol or anything like that, or even any type of genetic anomalies or whatever like that. So I'm not exactly sure. And you can't even say, oh, it's because he had a bald head, because he's had a
Because he had a
bald head
bald head. What you talking
for,
about?
I'm just saying, you know how like some people like, oh, well, he had a bald head, maybe it was cancer or something like that.
Oh,
Like in majority of
what?
his things, he has had a bald
Yeah.
head, because he
Mm-hmm.
was even in what is it? American Horror Story. He was in one of their seasons,
Mm-hmm.
um, playing a character there. Um, so he has been in
A
a
lot of stuff.
plethora of stuff. Very, very, I think, underrated. He's he's a good actor.
I wonder. I mean, I just wonder how what direction you're gonna take. It's this interesting though. Like the whole idea of natural causes at 60. I mean, not saying that it's not possible, but it's just like I mean,
Well,
usually that early there is something.
let me tell you this. Okay, because my sister has sent me a um what you call it, a link, or like a reel on Instagram, and it was talking about, oh, when people that get in their 40s, not
I saw the
50s,
same
and it was
thing.
like your middle
Hmm.
age. And to be honest with you, people always say, oh, because you're 50, you're middle of 100, but most people around the world do not live to be 100 or even very close to it.
Hmm.
Here in the United States, the average age for a woman is 77 years old, for a
Hmm.
man is 75. So really you're middle age when you're in your 30s.
Yeah, that's
So when
true.
you're looking at it based off of life expectancy, he
Mm.
really was close to his life
That's
expectancy.
true. That's funny because I did see that most recently. There was like, well, the thing said they're 40, but to your point, if the average is 76, 75, then in your 30s, you're middle age child. Oh, Lord. Have
Yeah, so
mercy.
we already kind of like over the hump. It's one of those things like, really, because my sister, she was also saying, like, she was in a meeting, and the guy that was leading the meeting was saying, if you knew that you was going to pass in the next 20 years, because I guess looking at everybody ages potentially that was in the meeting was, 40 and beyond, like, okay, if you knew you was going to pass at 63, what would you do differently? Like,
Hmm.
and what is holding you back from
Doing
doing
it
it
right
right
now.
now and stuff? And he was talking about his parents had passed, and they were very young, and they passed within 6 to 9 months of one another. And it really made him think differently about life expectancy, the length of life that you put in the years that you have, his longevity, his vitality, you know all of that.
Hmm.
And when my sister sent me that, it's like, you know what, this is so true, because really, not saying that you shouldn't expect to live to be 100, but the chances of you making it to be 100
It's
just
not high. Those chances are not high. So it's like, what are you going
exactly.
to do with the time that you have?
Exactly. So it's like, all right, at best, if I'm getting into my mid 70s,
Hmm.
then what? What are you gonna do? But as always, you can definitely potentially extend your life with diet, exercise, drinking water, rest, good sleep, stress free. Those are always going to be your best doctors. And if you just so happen have to go to the doctor, you know, I'm an advocate. If you don't like what they say, go to someone
Goes another
else.
one. Exactly.
Right. But if everybody's saying the same thing, you might want to take some advice from them. Do what they say do, to just to see. But all right. Speaking of doctors, we have great news this year. As a lot of people didn't know, for resident doctors, they find out where they're going to match, meaning like this doctor is going to match with this program and this specific specialty in medicine. So Friday was the official match day, and we have Dr. Tamia Porter. She is the first Black female to match in neurosurgery at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. And she that program started in 1874, so
Mm-hmm.
148 years. Never have they ever had a black female neurosurgeon resident. So she matched there. It is historic, everything. That is in Nashville. My plans is I'm going they everybody start residency July 1st. I'm gonna look for her. I'm gonna find her. I want to congratulate her
Yeah,
because that is monumental. And when you think it took 148 years to break the ceiling, I'm pretty sure she has not been the only black female that has
has it
applied to that
absolutely not.
program, but she applied, she got in. We wish her well and that she gets all of the knowledge, and she just doesn't stop there. Like, we see her name in shining lights, get the Nobel Prize for something, honey, because clearly they have kept us black women out because they know once we in it, we gonna do
Honey,
well in it. We gonna run it up.
because speaking of, because this is Women History Month,
Yes,
so speaking of, once we in it, we doing it.
yes.
So another story that came out this month, so this definitely happened long before this month, but a story that came out is about Dr. Hadida H. Green, who was the
Okay.
first doctor to have a cure for cancer
Yes.
using nanoparticles. So the big piece of this is, right now, this is for everyone. Maybe we can put in our comments later somewhere, just link to this episode. But she's needing donations for her nonprofit to help to finish out her clinical trials to get FDA approval. And also, the donations will also go to her foundation, Orally Foundation. That, because one thing she wants to do is make sure that this technology is affordable for people, so it's not just the rich. But basically,
Yes.
what it looks like is these nanoparticles would, let's say there was cancer in the lung, the nanoparticles will be put directly in that space, and they use a actual laser. And the
Mm-hmm.
way this particular laser and this nanoparticle works is that when the laser goes on that
Mm-hmm.
particle, it vibrates, and it's this type of vibration that it will destroy what it's on. It will
Mm.
not destroy anything else. It has been said that for the people who have done these trials with her so far, cancer cured in 15 days
Oh my God.
without loss of hair, without loss of other function, without downtime. And like, and
Mm.
I saw this video, this how I even found out about it on Instagram. It's amazing. Social media has its downfalls, but social media definitely brings us the news and
Yes.
the information that we can dig deeper and find out about great things going on in the world. But she was talking about, because she didn't create the nanoparticles, but her thought process when she found out about this technology was like, if we can have a satellite that's in space that's directed to one phone that can give you the information that you need, if we can do these other things with nanoparticles, why couldn't we use a laser that can only go to the place that you need things to be destroyed? It
Mm.
doesn't have to be something that goes throughout her body, there anyone's body, not just her. But I think the biggest thing about this is, like you said, Dr. Porter protects her at all costs, because just getting in, that's not the end, and we already know they're gonna make it hard for her, because continuing on her previous self. And then Dr. Green, like, just prayers, donations, protection, like, for real, because the reality is cancer is big business. That's just the
Oh
reality.
yes,
Research,
absolutely.
you have all these programs, oh, give to this, give to that. And there, I'm not saying research isn't done and hasn't helped, but I don't believe that it is really going to cure. It's like some things are to mask, and where we are, if she can actually create this technology that all people can tap into,
And
that is not
afford
something
it.
that big business
That's the
wants.
key.
Maybe the medical field wants, absolutely, the medical community, but big business doesn't want it. And
Big
we already
pharma
know
no.
they do not. Big pharma does not, because we already know, and government, right? Because there's doctors doing right now, when we talk about the whole abortion thing, doctors are like, what the heck? I'm supposed to be saving a life, and you want me to wait until the person's almost dying. So that goes to tell you that, yeah, doctors have to follow rules because they need their licenses. However, they may want to give these things, but if they can't afford to do it because of the cost of it, because this is going to cost a lot of money, point blank, period. So
Mm-hmm.
just protect her, the ideas, hopefully that she gets everything she needs. And her, heck, just her life.
Yes,
Because
because this is definitely will be her life's work, and then they already know there's a lot of patents where guess what? Other people they cannot under no circumstances claim this as their own, and it's kind of like with the Ford T model car. All of the cars that we see today is a build upon that first,
right, exactly,
model, that first
exactly.
type of car. So we definitely want, I'm going to look into this is just the science, nerd geek or whatever, but like this is absolutely fascinating because a lot of times it's not, yes, cancer in itself does kill people, but a lot of times the chemotherapy, it has no way of knowing this is cancer cells, this is not cancer cells. So in it does harm and good all at the same
Right.
time. And a lot of times it's not tailored to just
One
specifically
person.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why sometimes some people they do very, very well, and then other people they do not. I've always heard, even in undergrad, they have found cures for all cancers. However, big pharma is money. That
Yep.
I remember in college, my no, high school, my physics teacher was talking about they have already discovered how to have a car run off of air
Mm-hmm.
and a car that runs off of water. But why would you not? If you are the oil company,
Right.
gasoline
I'm
company,
saying,
like
oh, guys,
I'm gonna
make it better.
snatch you up, whatever like that. I'm gonna buy that patent. Some of them people they probably worse than the mafia in itself because it is so much of stuff. Because just like with Nikola Tesla, and I didn't, people think like, oh, he was like back in the 1800s, just when he was first born, late 1800s, but he passed away like in the 50s. But his patents for wireless electricity, so it could be free for everybody, people don't know. Guess who bought that?
Hmm.
Those patents, took it, burned his laboratory down to the ground to nothing. JP Morgan Chase and who else it was that was over like electricity, the
I
company
don't know.
that like
Bell. Oh.
General Electric, like they were the ones who like the family that started that, they was the one, but definitely JP Morgan Chase
Of
and
course they
stuff
burn
like
it
that,
down. I
because
mean,
it's
they burn
like
us.
there was
They burn
money.
stuff down for us just if we
Yeah,
being doing
like
things
if
within our community. So you definitely don't want things that's going to affect the larger population of the U.S. and beyond. It's going to affect your bottom line. So protect her at all costs. I am
both
the
of
one
them.
thing that I really am happy about social media is that because this is out there, there's a layer of protection, right? There's a layer of protection because it's like you can't do something and to these two women and no one's gonna care. People are gonna care.
Exactly.
So, I hope there's some level of protection, but just wish you guys nothing but success, prosperity, and victory in the things that you are doing and accomplishing. This is amazing things, and
Yes.
I am very happy that we even get to talk about it during Women's History Month because they are doing the darn thing.
Yes.
Now we're gonna wrap it up in a little bit, but we just got a little bit of tea. We just got a little bit of tea because I'm supposed to be having it on Tuesday, and it's from the Orange's mouth. The Orange said, Sir Orange is Donald
Donald
Trump,
Trump.
that I'm gonna be arrested on Tuesday, so y'all need to protest. This man. So the story is that I guess there's a, what is it? They come before the judge or whatever on Tuesday, and if he is indicted, he will have to turn himself in. So basically, and so the only thing about indictments is if the person does not turn himself in, they're gonna be arrested. So him saying he's gonna be arrested on Tuesday is basically like, first of all, I'm not coming in if I'm indicted.
Ain't
Y'all gonna have
doing
to
it.
come and get me, honey. What we gonna look like? Are they gonna? You think they're gonna storm the Capitol again?
I
Not the
don't
Capitol,
know.
somewhere else.
It's they may be storming every capital everywhere. Like it could be riots in the street, and I black people we need to do it just as what we did on January the 6th.
Be watching.
Just sit back and watch because that ain't got nothing to do with none of us.
I'm wanting
Nothing
to
to
burn it
do,
down.
none of us.
And
And
maybe I shouldn't say that on the show, but I do want to burn it down. Burn it
and
down,
and
mama.
I do know that there are plenty of black Republicans and stuff. And sometimes is I think it's just like with any organization. You're not 100% happy with everything that they
No,
do, but for
absolutely.
some of the things that are your core values, they do have that. Guess what? I didn't see them out there January 6th. So for those people, I need you to for us, for black people across the African diaspora. Sit at home, watch. If you got to go to work, go to work. Drink your water, mind your business. This ain't got nothing to do with us.
Nothing.
Cause you mess around and they'll be to have you up there in jail.
I want to say, wasn't there this one guy who went out there to videotape or to see, and he ended up going to jail? I vaguely
Yes,
remember that he was just out
they
there.
had two guys that I remember distinctively. One guy, he was a young guy. He was from the DMV area, and he's like he wanted a picture inside of the Congress chambers, which is a sacred place, um, for his album cover.
Yes,
And
yes,
guess what? He
that's the person
got the
I'm thinking about.
photo shot.
They,
Like he's standing up on the balcony, and like you see mayhem going on around him, and he's just standing up there. Like I will say this: this is a lit picture. But
picture.
guess what you could have did? You could have had screenshot or took a picture of whatever it is on your camera of your TV, and then they could have had Photoshop you in there, and they had, as I say, he had absolutely true crimes.
Yeah, against him.
True crimes, true charges. And as actually it was another black guy who went there with a group of people, and his charges and stuff is even more than some of the people who went up there stole stuff out of people's offices. Because I don't think because they had that one person who took
The
a
podium.
laptop
Oh,
and sold it to the Russians.
I didn't know about
Girl,
that.
I was on it. I'm a news buff, honey. I can watch news, CNN, and all those MSNBC, even Fox News. They was made for people like me. I can watch news 24/7 because there's always something going on, a drama. But yeah, like them
You like
people,
any type of drama.
yeah, it's a lot of those people. They really for it to be an insurrection and the breaking and the entering and the destruction of property and all these other different type of things, a lot of those people, their charges was very, 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 very watered down. First off, y'all let the people go home, and then y'all ask the public, can you find these people?
No, you should have
They
did your
showing
job.
pictures and all this other different type of stuff. But for those two black men, once they got arrested, they never did let them go. They did not have any bond or nothing. And you would have thought that they was the ringleaders of it, and they was the ones that was orchestrated. So y'all need I don't forget their name, but guess what? For what else go happen on this Tuesday
Tuesday.
or any other Tuesday thereafter, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Mind your own black business.
Listen, exactly. I was about to say. So the message for today, on Tuesday, and any other day, is mind your business. Do not go there. Mind your business. Drink your water, you
And
hydrate, and you watch a little TV, listen to the news, look at social media, see what's happening. So I want to know. And the question is he gonna get arrested? I don't. We don't have to
I
dive
don't
into it
think
today,
so.
but I'm interested. And
It
he
is
must. They must have something on him. And he's like, I'm a little scared because this might happen. Because for him to even say, I'm getting arrested on Tuesday.
Well, I'm gonna say this, but he definitely have a way to galvanize the people,
He
and he
does.
has some people that is willing to run for him. As I
He
say, they
already know
would
they did
think
it. They did it January 6th.
exactly because as I say, it ain't nothing like a good friend that's a rider, and that goes to
Going
our
on a who ride.
exactly like, girl, homie, they about to get me. Oh no, they won't. Let them get you, and then we gonna be in the streets. We gonna be outside not having fun. We turning up for you. So that's as I say. I will say this for his followers, his supporters. They are true riders. They are true friends. Everybody need a good friend like that, and that goes to our topic today of
Yes. What about your friends? Will
Will
they
they
stay
stay
their
their
ground?
ground?
Will
Will
they
they
let
let
you
you
down?
down?
Hey, 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 what
What
about
about
your
your friend?
friends? Oh, hey, I don't know the words. I don't know the
No.
words.
Oh, but then the other song said, "Friends." Mm.
Oh, yeah.
How
How
many
many of
of
us
us
have
have them
them?
friends?
Friends.
Mm.
Hey, hey. One
Ones you
you can
can
depend
depend on.
on.
Friends.
Friends.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
hey. How
How
many
many
of
of
us
us
have
have them
them?
friends?
Friends. Hey, hey.
Ones
One
you
you
can
can depend
depend on.
on.
All right.
So
We do
today,
not own the rights to this song.
we do not. So
We
please
will
don't
let
charge
them sing
us.
it. We would definitely let them
We
sing
are
it.
not authorized to sing those songs, nor are we going to pay any royalties for singing those snips also. But today we are talking about friendships and how the dynamics change over time. And we thought it was perfect because we're together today once again.
Yeah. And
And
less than
so
a month times within a month.
I know we get to be in the same place.
Yeah, now we're at her place.
And the ATL.
Is that it? That's it. The A.
Yes.
I don't know how they had it, but yeah.
So yesterday we kind of just talked about yesterday we went out. We are such good friends that I was invited with her family
Yes.
to a actual family gathering of some of the girl cousins. Y'all went. Y'all were getting together. I guess it's just a get together, right?
Yes, because we had just you always meeting up under the worst circumstances, which is typical for like a lot of people. Sometimes you meet up at funerals and it's always said we don't need to meet up again like this. We need to get together. We need to do something. People, they exchange telephone numbers and everything, and there's a lot of chit chat, whatever, between 2-3 weeks or whatever, and then sometimes it kind of falls off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with my first cousins, because that's who was there, we do keep in contact because we have a first cousins text message
Uh-huh.
group, and we was like, hey, we really need to meet up under better circumstances
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So we was like, what city, what's going on, what you want to do, whatever, like that. And my sister had found this thing called dinner with a view.
Mm-hmm.
So it's these domes, these igloo, like transparent igloo things that was out at Piedmont Park,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We posted it on our stories last night as we waited
And waited and waited.
to eat.
So it was supposed to be a 4-course meal, celebrity
Mm-hmm.
chef. Um, so just we wanted to do something like, okay, everybody, like, let's just come to the A. We're gonna stay with my sister. It's gonna be just like a sleepover, but now we're gonna be sleeping in beds, and ain't gonna be like at grandmama's house where everybody just pile up on the floor. Because I want to let you know, my grandmama, she had room for everybody, but everybody just wanted to be up under each other and stuff like that. So that was just one of the things. Everybody just sleeping on the floor. They made pallets, and you're laughing and you're giggling or whatever like that. So that was the whole thing, like for the female cousins to get together and all of us to come. So it's 6 of us. One decided not to come. Don't really know why. The other one, she paid. She decided not to come. Nobody know why. So it ended up being us four. And it was like, hey, you want to come? It was like, trust me, my grandma would have
Friends,
loved you anyway.
how many of us have them? Call me, girl. You can depend on me
Yeah.
anytime to eat. Okay, I tell you, not saying you can't depend on other stuff, but there's definitely you can depend on Myochi saying, "Will we eating?" Yep, I'll be there.
Yes.
So we did go. Some people did get to eat, and our
We
group
wouldn't we wouldn't
we
with them
wasn't that
people.
group.
Mm-mm.
And so not to just because that's not about our topic, but the whole point of that was just like we met up because we are friends and we have been friends since 2005, which is
Yes.
wild. It's now 2023, and we
Yeah.
have been friends since 2005, and dynamics of our relationship has changed so much
Yes.
over that time. But it's interesting to say to date we're close enough now that it's like on some family type stuff,
Yeah, like
you know.
definitely, I would definitely consider her to be family. I've had the privilege to be around some of her family, especially when we first met, because um, some of her family was displaced due to Hurricane Katrina.
Right. Our first day of class was the day Katrina hit.
Right. And of course, nobody thought it was going to be this bad. And it was just like, oh, okay. And then it was that bad. It
It
was
sure was.
worse. So, and then she's had the privilege to meet quite a few of my family members, but definitely extensively been around my mother, my sister, and my son more so than anybody else in my family just over the course of the years. And you know, so we definitely we are kindred spirits, we are friends. And people who know me, they know not me or she just from the podcast. They've been knowing her. So
Yeah.
once I started doing the podcast, and some of my family members who had not met her, they support the podcast. And it was like, oh, okay, that's the one that you do the podcast with or whatever. And they a lot of people who do sit up there and say like, oh, y'all jail so good together. Like, do y'all practice? Like, no, we
We
used to.
practice. We do practice. Girl, let me tell you what happened today.
Yes, it's just regular
Conversations.
conversations. But it's like, no, like this is authentically who we are. And then,
Right.
some people are like, are you for real? Like, yes, this is authentically, this is not no anything. And when you look back at some of our facial expressions, it's still just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And then sometimes it's just like, okay, I am not paying attention because I'm trying to type up something in the comments. So I'm trying to look
Hmm.
up something. If not, some of our facial expressions, like, wait a minute, what? Because it's like, yes, a lot of this stuff is like, okay, you come up with some topics, I come up with some topics, and then we're going to talk about them live on the show. And it's,
Yep.
oh, so it's everything is 100% genuine and authentic, except for these braids. These are not my hair braids, and every now and again I will have the time I put on some fake eyelashes.
And anyone who knows me and has met Renee has heard her classic saying, because they were like, "Oh, this is the same, right?" Yes, I said, "Know me by my face and
And
not by
about
my
my
hair."
hair.
That is her classic saying, and it's so funny to hear some of my friends even say it because they've heard her say it. Um, but what's crazy is, where we are, we didn't get there overnight, and we
True.
didn't get there in happenstance. And there has been things that has happened in between.
Mm-hmm.
We've had disagreements. That's one thing I can say for our friendship, is that although we have, we've had disagreements, we never had no argument, but we had things that we
Yeah.
genuinely just didn't agree on. We've been able to maintain a friendship and in a respect,
Yes.
because, and I think it's because our friendship isn't like just top. It's not like, oh, just because we can go out now, honey, we gonna always be on the fun train, always be on the fun
Exactly.
train. But that is not the root and
Yeah.
the foundation of our relationship. So I think, because our friendship started in school, and we had a genuine care for both of us,
And we
like
had a
finishing
vested, yes,
school.
it was a vested
Yeah.
interest. It was a common goal. Plus, it was like so much that time that we had spent, because I remember one time you was talking about some of your friends was like, who is this Renee? She always taking up your time. And I'm just like, why would I was like, I wouldn't have mind being around them. Like, if you want to come or
Hmm.
whatever, like I'm down to meet them. But it was some of her friends that was here in the city. All of us was here. And I remember one time, one of your line sisters, I ain't gonna call her name, but you probably already know. I was like, girl, you have met me literally 12
Oh.
times. And it was like, no. I was like, yes. And it was just like, she knew I was being for real because I had this disgust on my face, just like,
I know who you're
it,
talking about, and I'm not gonna mention her name just because she is not on social media, so she makes a point not to do that. So I don't put her name out there, but I can remember that, and she's like, "I did,
I was like,
yes."
yes. And I remember telling her, I was like, she was like, I just don't. I said, you need to know me by my face and not by my hair. I said, my hair changed. I said, yours do too. I said, you can't just know me by my clothes. I said, my clothes go change. And like, she was sitting there, she was laughing, but like, I was like, This is not finna be no 51st dates, 51st meetups. Like, girl, I still remember you was like, you know my name? Me, what you tell you about me? Girl, you told me about
About you.
you.
But like it's so funny because that's so crazy because it's like I don't talk to my line sisters even as much as I would like to because of life, right? So you have
Yeah.
these friendships and that's why we're talking about life be life and things change. And I know like even with our relationship, I think going just in general, I think all relationships is all about where you have that base.
Hmm.
Because if you have that base and that foundation, I think to a degree you always can come back. You know,
Yes.
sometimes there's some things that like ain't ever, but generally speaking, you can always come back to that because you have that base. Because you saying, I'm like, dang, I didn't even talk to her in such a long time. But because of that relationship, I know if I would call her today, there's no concern that we could just have a little conversation, chop
Hmm.
it up, catch up, and move on without feeling
Hmm.
like, oh, you ain't called me, because we have a mutual understanding of life
Right.
be life and
Yeah.
and things change.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the dynamic shifts. So we just kind of want to talk about some of the dynamic shifts. And I think the biggest part of it is the change. And it's like, okay, so what is the change? One change, I think one of the biggest changes is moving.
Yes. Especially when not moving within the city, sometimes moving out of the city, definitely out of the
Anything
state
over
where
an
you,
hour.
yeah, where you're not seeing the person physically. Because
Hmm.
now with video chat and stuff like that, you can literally see people daily.
Yeah.
But just being in one another's presence on more on a regular, I think that can definitely change, hugely change the dynamics of the
I
relationship.
think, and for us, a perfect example is when you were in Bonaire.
I was in the Caribbean. I lived down
Hmm.
there, and during that time, were you in Philly at
I
that
think so. I think I was in Philly at that time.
or the time kind of overlapped at some point. And we wasn't in the same place, and then you didn't have all these great apps like you have
Exactly, to keep up.
now to keep in contact with, and some of the apps such as Skype, it wasn't it wasn't such thing as apps, so you didn't have it on your phone. You had to be in
On the
front of your
computer.
computer, and it wasn't a big time change, but I was down there doing other stuff, and it's
You were
like
busy. I was busy. I can remember because how we were trying to keep up was email.
email. I still have some of those emails.
The only email I remember because we didn't even email that often. But
No.
again, because of schedule, because of the fact the distant constraints, it's like you email me, I might email you back a week later. Like it was wild when you think about it. But I remember this one email you emailed about a dog. This dog was running after you. Oh my god, just think about it. It was long.
Oh
And
my
she,
god.
as descriptive as she is on here, this is how descriptive Renee is in real life. As they say IRL on the phone. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, get to the end of the story because baby, she's gonna give you every single detail. But I remember reading his email, hollering, laughing about this
I
stray dog
remember
and
the
how she had to
sound.
run for her life to get home.
I just thank God for them people because I hopped their fence and I was on their porch, skin up, legs, shin splints, whatever. Because it used to be so hot down there, like you could just walk past the dog during the daytime. Them dogs, and anybody who know me, I'm a petrified of dogs. You
She is.
But let me tell you, when the sun go down, oh my God, every dog on that island would just get the barking and they up. And this is like in the daytime, so I guess the dog had been up under somebody's house or been in the shade. And I don't know what it was. And it was just like, hold up. I just darted across traffic. I could have been dead before the dog got me. Dead, dead. And I mean, the people,
Dead?
yeah,
Oh, you mean I was just
because I
certified
didn't
dead.
even look. I didn't look both ways before I crossed the street, and I just crossed the street.
Mm,
I remember that. I just took off running. Like when you running for your life, it's just like I can stand here and
gotta
die. I
go.
can go over there and die. But guess what? I'm gonna try to do my best. Like, look, as long as you move, I remember that. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we did. We tried our best to keep in contact, and we lost contact. And I remember one random day I had a white notebook and I was going through it. And you know how you have like that paper, and it had like these little holes right here. It was like torn off, and it had her number on there. It had your name and number on there, and it was just clipped in. It wasn't a full sheet of paper. It was just like maybe like 4 inches with just one punch hole in it. And it was just like it wasn't nothing but the grace of God that I found the number, because like it was stuck in
It's like
between
it's
papers, and it was just like,
serendipitous.
why am I going through all these papers?
Hmm.
Like I wasn't just like reading them, and I was like, where's my girl at? And I was like, let me call her. And I called you. Luckily, it was the same number, because you know people they would
I
change
have not
numbers.
changed my number. I don't think I ever. First of all, my number is real easy. I would never change this number as long as never say never, but I'm gonna say never. I'm gonna be forced. It would be by force, not by choice, to
Yeah.
change this number. It's so easy, and people can find me. Yeah.
And I called, and it was like, who is this? I was like, this is Renee. And I just remember like both of us we was out there screaming, and it was like, how you get my number? Like she ain't never gave me the number, but it was just like we had not talked probably in over a year at
They
that point,
probably a
might have
little
been a
bit
little
longer.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just it was like, well, let me just try the and I don't know like what would have been the next step, like if the phone didn't work, because at that point you was back on the forefront of my brain. I probably would have went back to an email and was like, hey Myochi girl,
Yeah.
what's your number or something, because one, I wouldn't even had a place to go back to because you had already moved
Hmm.
and stuff. So I don't even know. But thank God it just kind of like worked out. And after that it was just like, oh, okay, we just go keep in contact. And we have oddly enough, sometimes it's been more heavy than
Hmm.
others, where heavy was like, okay, several times a day or at least daily, versus sometimes it's been like a couple times a week, or just a couple
Like,
times
dang,
a
I ain't
month.
talked to her in a whole week.
Yeah. So I definitely think moving is a big one. Also sometimes like it could be a job or a school that's so demanding of your time. And so you don't have the time to call, email, text, or even visit people or take their visits because
Yeah.
you're consumed during that time.
And when you're not doing that stuff, you trying to sleep. You trying
Okay.
to go to the store. You're trying to just relax.
Yes. So though I definitely know for sure that can put a strain on that, change the dynamics of the relationship. Um
I think even with going with time, it's like with children,
oh yeah.
because children take a lot of your time. And I have friends that have kids, and sometimes I have to call them like, okay, I ain't heard from you in forever. You know what I mean? And you know not saying that I should be at the forefront of your mind, but it's like, that is a change, because if it goes from no children, like when I met Renee, she had her son, but
Hmm.
even that changes over time. I mean, he was smaller, so now he's older, so he didn't require, as he got older, he didn't require as much time. But there was
Yeah.
already a dynamic in our relationship that didn't change. Even now, that hasn't changed. But
Yeah.
if we had met prior to that, that dynamic would have changed. The time,
Absolutely.
the times of the day we could actually talk, because when you have kids, there's other responsibilities. It's homework. It's whatever. It's we need to watch a
Outdoor
movie together.
activities and
Exactly.
stuff. and
Um,
and sometimes when you are have children, you do meet other parents via school or extracurricular activities and stuff. And then sometimes because that's that common thing, and you're always there, or you're with PTO, and then their child playing the same sport as yours, and then of course you stay in close proximity because the kids, if it's through school, they go to the same school.
right.
So sometimes, and I've met some good friends that we connected because our children was doing the similar things, and we're still friends to this day. And some people just like, well, how did you meet them? It's like, oh, through through the kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So that can definitely change those dynamics. And a big one is relationship, meaning like, did you get a boyfriend? Did that
Mm-hmm.
become your fiance? Did that become your husband? And some people, when they get a man, they don't know you no more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know when they having problems because that's when they come out
Like,
of
hey,
hiding. It's like, oh, here they go. What kind of problems and issues they have? Because I used to have a couple of friends that was like that, but I did not like um that dynamic, because in my opinion, that if we are friends, there should not be a reason that you cut out absolutely our
right.
communication because
That
you
is
get
totally
into.
different because it's gonna change. I mean, any additional relationship, if it's a new friend, if it's new whatever work friends or
Hmm.
a romantic or whatever, is going to change the dynamic, but it
Hmm.
shouldn't stop the communication.
Right.
Because now you have to change your now you have to share your time. So if I
Yeah.
talk to you every day and now I have a man, well, I'm gonna have to work him in.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I'm okay with,
yeah.
we may not talk as much, we may not go out as much, but I'm talking about,
Yeah, I
it's like
know.
cold turkey.
Like
I
I
don't
don't
hear
need you
you.
no more.
Yeah, and that's how it was. It makes you feel like, okay, was this friendship actually genuine or not? And even like when you text the people, you with this man 24/7. Like, do you need us to come rescue you? Are you being held against your
No,
will? Like, I don't understand. Like, is it just that type of situation that you cannot have no type of relationship with the people who was there before that person?
right.
And it's like, if you're that type of person, like, I just need to see you when I see you, because we definitely cannot be friends at that level, because to me that's just wrong.
Yeah. I think on the other side of it too, like the person who I wouldn't say don't have the man, but the person who the dynamic haven't changed. Because sometimes that person may be in a relationship, whether it's a man or woman, whatever, right? So you have this person who's in a relationship, but now you have the person who's not, and now they're in a
Mm,
relationship. I think there also needs to be understanding on that person that the change is really happening to and experiencing it. Because it's
mm,
like, well, you change. Well, yes, because now I have to change my time. Now it'll be a big difference if I'm not calling you, I'm not trying to, have conversation with you and hang out with you
mm-hmm.
and do stuff. Yeah, things gonna change because especially when a relationship first starts. Like when you first in a relationship, you do want to just be with that person, but like
Right.
all in their face and which is expected. I would hope that's what you want when you first because you
Yeah.
get to know
But
that
if I'm
person.
your
You have
friend,
to
you're supposed to be calling me, telling me about all
exact
this type of stuff. But
hello.
it's like, okay,
Hello.
I get that 2, 3, like, okay, y'all first couple of dates, like, oh well, he nice, whatever, like that. Then all of a sudden, okay, he my whole man, and that's it.
No, see, yeah, I definitely feel like because I definitely feel like they need to be called. Like I need to be calling, and telling you about this stuff.
Right, and then you keep it to yourself. But that's a huge one. Also, I definitely would say jealousy can definitely cause a change in a relationship. And I would say this is secret jealousy,
Oh
because
yeah.
if you typically consider this person your friend, you don't necessarily think that you have anything for them to be jealous of you about or
Mm-hmm.
of. So it's the secret jealousy that I definitely think not only just change the dynamics of the friendship, but would actually kill that friendship as well. Because who knows to what level it is, because you can have a healthy jealousy, I think. And some people's like, healthy jealousy, where it's like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really fix, it was some things in your life goals that you
Yeah,
had,
you
and
really
then you
killing it.
did the work, and it's just like, oh my God, I am so jealous. Like, you really got it
Mm-hmm.
together, you put in your work, and now I'm seeing the work pay off. Like, you've gotten a better job, or you went up the ladder at your job, maybe you finished school,
Started a
got.
business, or even the jealousy of a relationship. Because somebody
Yes.
could be jealous because you have a relationship and they're not in one. They could be jealous because what they see in your relationship that they maybe wish that they had in theirs. But I think people can also be jealous of the relationship. Like your friend can genuinely be jealous of the relationship you have with your significant other.
Mm,
Because you see that, which is crazy. You see that even in like parent relationships, that some
mm,
parents, most times you hear about it with women, unfortunately, where with women, if they didn't have a certain relationship with their father, when they see their husbands, their partner, parent their daughters, there's this level of jealousy. Not that they don't want them to have it, but more so because I didn't get it. And
yeah, and they
so
kind of view
they,
them as the
yeah,
other woman.
yeah, and it's exactly, which is, it's
It's
very, that's a
crazy.
very layered conversation and dynamic. But I think friends can be jealous in that way. They can be jealous of your other friends because again, you
Oh
have
yeah.
to share that time. Um, I think that's also normal, like right. That's a certain level of it is normal, like the
Mm,
healthy jealousy. Like for real, if I'm always used to spending time with you and talking to you. Yeah, I'm going to feel some type of way if I don't. Like if you don't feel some type of way because the person you usually do things with don't do it with you, then that could be up for catchment. Maybe not, right? Maybe you have very super healthy attachment
mm,
um personality. But the reality is, I think jealousy about something to a degree is normal. But when it really becomes this really big thing and you allow these new
mm-hmm.
dynamics to change, to truly change your relationships. We're not talking about the fact that, yeah, the relationship changed, you don't talk as much, but the dynamic of when we do talk, it's strained. It's these
Mm.
unspoken conflicts, these
Oh yeah.
unspoken words, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I think, because we do have it on the list, but I think the unspoken conflict comes from these other things because you're not saying, like, hey, I miss you. Because
Mm-hmm.
really, that's what it is. So if I'm not saying, hey, I miss you, or even check me, like, I would want to be checked, like, ma'am, I ain't heard from you in a month. And when I do hear from you, all you want to talk about is this. Like, yeah, I might feel some kind of way. Like, why are you telling me that? But at the same time, as my friend, I'm taking it as I miss you and you need to get it together because life is not just going to be about this person, and as a
Right.
friend and as a mature adult, and I say that because emotionally mature, only an emotional mature can really person can take
Right.
that and be like, you know what, you're right. Like my
Yes.
bad, like, and I realize you're not saying it in a wrong way, but like, I'm gonna do better. And no, that don't mean I'm gonna be able to talk to you now every day because I still have other friends. You have
Mm,
other friends, you have other responsibilities, but just doing better with keeping those lines of communication
absolutely.
open. And speaking of lines of communication, miscommunication.
Yeah.
Again, the unresolved conflict. So you have miscommunication. Someone don't say what made them mad, and so now it's one thing, stacks on the top of each other. One event, you have this event, then the next event, then you have the
Yeah.
next event, and then
As
it's
I
a
say, it's
mound.
like a flaw in communication, meaning that it's a lack of communication, or you are talking, but you're not talking about what you need to be talking about, or you cannot effectively express what it is. So you get that miscommunication, or, you know, well then don't worry about it. It's all right. It's not that big or whatever. And then everybody just let it go, but you really didn't let
And
it
you
go.
didn't let it go, and especially how deep the the miscommunication is. I know for me, to be honest, it's hard for me to move forward on big topics. Like, I don't see me constantly having a conversation with someone or being around someone who we have this huge elephant, and not only are they in the room, they doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't ignore that. Like, and so what happens is, I mean, you try to ignore it, right? But what happens is you talk less and less because
Yes.
of the tension, because of the unspoken. And sometimes it is because we neither one of us want to talk. Sometimes it's because the other person doesn't do well with conflict, or they just really don't want to talk about it, for one thing. But I think that is another thing that going to, or you say, flaws in communication. The flaw in
Mm.
the communication has actually caused a bigger dynamic shift. And I remember like one recently with, what was it recently? Like last year with Renee and I, we didn't stop talking, but we had a change in opinions about something, and she was like, "Well, I just don't need to talk to you," and I'm like, Well, a lot can happen, right?
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot
this
can
just a tad bit, not to give the whole thing away. It was like one of my little catchphrases that I had said since probably after 2 years of meeting her or within a year or something. It's just like, well, what this happened. I just ain't gonna be talking to you. And it was just like, okay, situation come up and it's just like, well, I've been telling you this for 16 years. Like I didn't change my position. And it was one of those things where it was like, well, why wouldn't you want to talk to me? And it was like a lot of time can pass by during that. A lot of things can happen. And so you don't want to be a part of it and stuff like that. And so and I can be stubborn. I can be very, very, strong willed and headstrong. I will say that about me. I don't I don't consider that as a strength or a weakness. I just feel like it's something in the middle that it
right.
serves its purpose, you know, positively when it needs to, but when
Mm-hmm.
it's negative, it's just negative. But I seek wise counsel from my aunt who's coming up to be 84 next month, and you know talk to her about it because it's like, okay, I didn't feel like it was I'm right, I'm wrong type of situation. It's like, okay, I need to be able to have someone who I trust to be able to, like, okay, I need you to go from this point A to just walk
Mm-hmm.
around so that you can see this whole 360 from a different point of view.
And I want to interject because so I haven't really talked about it a lot, but I did talk about it on my social media, so I don't have. I'm gonna briefly talk about it. So
Yeah.
the topic was, so when me and Renee met in school, I was in my early 20s. Child, I always thought I was pregnant. Okay, that like that's a whole other topic. I never was, but I always was like,
She
girl,
didn't have no reason to
I
think
didn't
that, but
really
it was
have a
just
good reason. Outside of the fact that I actually had sex, so I didn't make up an idea that, oh
but
girl,
she
I
was
might be
always
pregnant.
protected.
But
Let
in
me
my
just put that out there.
I
Like she always and
I
doubly
was.
protected. And I was just like, I can't be on your roller coaster.
And so my thing with that, so back then it was just like I always felt like, if there's 1%, I'll be there 1%. Like so, whatever that was in the back of my mind, somehow I got that in my head. Probably some of my grandmother actually tell her business. She don't mind. She ain't here to say that. But my grandmother, it's funny because my grandmother actually got pregnant the first time she had sex, and she
Mm,
traumatized me with that information. Like
mm.
for real. I mean, now I can look back at it and like it traumatized, not in a bad way. So she didn't say don't have sex because it was just I knew that information, and so I took that, and that's the way I internalized it. So anyway, child, every time I had sex, I thought I was pregnant. And so Renee said, she was like, girl, when you have when you finally get pregnant,
I ain't gonna talk to you. I
I'm
ain't
gonna
gonna
talk to
be
you
on your
that
pregnancy
day, and then
roller
the next
coaster.
time I'm gonna talk to you is at your baby shower. So we used to laugh about it, and I'm like, that's fine, whatever. I'm gonna have other friends, but I never thought she was really serious. Now she had said it. Think about this. She had said it even when those topics weren't coming up. It will could be watching. She was like, because I ain't gonna talk to you. And so, but you fast forward, child, that was our 20s. Now we're in our 40s, and she knows how big it was for me and important for me. And it's like, okay, I got pregnant. And well, this is even before I knew I was pregnant. So,
In
anyway,
the
it was a
process
very,
of
very,
her
very,
trying, I was there. I was like, do this, do this, do this. Like
it
it's
was a
gonna be
very much
there.
planned pregnancy.
And it
But
was
then
just
we had a conversation because it came up again, and I was like, a lot of things could happen in 9 months. Are you serious? And so I'm like, Renee, I was floored. Like, even in that, just when we talked about the not talking, like, I didn't call, because I mean, that was one of those elephants, that the elephant right here. So, what I'm gonna talk to you for? Because that's something on my mind, and I'm just keep asking you the same questions. Like, are you serious? You cannot be serious. Like, and she was like, yes, but Myochi, I don't understand. She was like, I'm not wrong. I don't understand what the problem is. I've been telling you this. This is not new information. I'm like, yes, that is very true.
and it was
But
like, what made you think I was lying? Like I've been saying this
even
over
then, I thought she
16
was lying. But I felt, so for me, it was more of that conversation of like, so I am a different person than I was since then, right? And because I could, I can still be a worrywart, first of all, but I have more control over that, and I can manage it better now.
Okay.
And for me, I'm like, if you haven't seen that growth and you don't think that, especially if I know this is a problematic for you, I'm not gonna call you all the time. Now, maybe sometimes I will call you, but my mom is a nurse. Like, I'm not gonna just call you automatically. I'm gonna bother her as well. So, so when she was like so serious, and I was so upset and so hurt by it, you know, and so that kind of would have, and I think that definitely would have strained our relationship in a major way. And again, this is like before I even found out that I was pregnant. It was in the plans of me, whatever, getting pregnant.
Mm.
And so, like she said, she sought wise counsel, which I know when we talked about it, I was just kind of like, I so appreciate that, because to me, that told me that it's like, okay, I definitely don't feel like I have to, but she obviously she's really hurt about this, and she cherished our relationship enough to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me talk to somebody who has a very objective opinion, who can give insight on this whole thing. So you can pick up from there. But I just
and
wanted to get that because it
and
was like
like
we tiptoed about it,
yeah,
and
and the
it's
conversation
fine.
that me and my aunt had, it didn't have anything to, it was not focused on that. It was focused on, okay, is this a friendship that you're willing to let go? And my aunt, when she was like, let go, is like, let go completely, because like she understood, like, guess what? A lot of stuff that can happen between that time, life happens, and then, okay, she has this baby, and then now it's like, okay, you free to call her back. However, now you going through something, but this person who has been your support is not your support system at this time. So it's like, I ain't just gonna call her right now because she been out of loose, she got a new baby, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, "Are you prepared? Is that what you want? Like, do you want to be her friend? Like, how long you want to be her friend? You done been her friend all this long length of time. Are you? Is this the stopping point?" So it was just kind of like, well, what do you want to do? And it was like, I value the friendship more than, okay, than anything else. Where it's
And then
like,
I said this, so I gotta stick to it.
yeah, because that was my mindset. And it was just kind of like, well, girl, it would be different if I just pulled this thing about the air. But it was just like, I value our friendship more. That, guess what? That, you know what? It's been other life changing events that has happened to in both of our lives. And we've been there for one another. And it's like, okay, why would I not want to be a part of that? And then, I had to do some different little soul searching and stuff like that. And it was some things that happened to me while I was pregnant where it was just like, you know what, I'm just good. Let me just be by myself. I don't want to be dealing with nobody else, and they mess, because it was some other stuff that you don't, it's just be in the back of your mind
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, I don't want to be fooling around with nobody if they pregnant, like if I ain't got to. And it was just kind of like, you know, it was something that I just had to work through, whatever. But it was like, it was nothing towards her. And it was like, regardless of whatever, I want her to still be involved in whatever it is that I have going on in my life, small or large. So therefore, I want her to be there for me. So I have to be there for her, because one thing, everybody wants a friend, everybody don't know how to be a friend. And I think that's another dynamic that shifts friendships
Yeah.
too, that something happens and it tests that friendship to see, like, okay, are you really riding for me? Or, as long as we on the fun train, we good. As long as we
Right.
just going
I don't
the
want to be that
highs,
type of
not the
friends.
lows.
Right. And like, so I actually ended up miscarrying. And so what's funny is, not funny, ironic, I guess. So we were having this conversation before I was pregnant, and then when she talked to her aunt, it was like when she told me, then I was like, so yeah, I am pregnant, because I had found out during that time I found I was pregnant, and it's like I was not going to tell her because as happy as I was, I didn't want to share it, because it's like I didn't even want the whole dynamic of that. And even when I,
Mm-hmm.
miscarried, I wasn't even meaning a lot could happen in 9 months, as in losing a baby or having all these issues. Just it's kind of pointing to what your aunt said. Like a lot can happen in 9 months. Just life happens, and we supposed to pick up where we left off. How? And
Right.
I think how, like you said, life happens, good or bad. And what I think happens a lot of times in friendships, just kind of diving into the miscommunication and the changes in life,
Mm-hmm.
that there could be something wonderful going on for you, and I'm going through my own thing. And sometimes I feel, I don't feel this way, but sometimes people feel like, well, since I'm dealing with this, I don't want to bring you down.
Mm.
And so sometimes that also changes the dynamics. And, even for
Mm.
us, given that particular situation, if I'm dealing with, a miscarriage, and then you have something going on for you, and because I know that you didn't want to be uh, a part of that whole process of pregnancy, not the miscarriage or whatever, because you was definitely there for me for that. Um, but the part of the pregnancy, do I then not share how I'm feeling because I don't
Mm.
want to bring you down? And this didn't happen. And for clarity, this did not happen in our relationship. But I feel like
Yeah.
giving it as an example,
Yeah.
that's another thing, right? People feel like I don't want to bring you down, and sometimes we have to be okay with people being there for us no matter what season their
Right.
life is in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we can definitely all be in different seasons. And
Yeah.
we make a lot of assumptions about people. Like, well, I don't want to bring it down. Well, who say my thing gonna bring you down? You might care about me and you want to be there for
Right.
me, but that don't mean you're gonna stop what you're doing.
Right. Because if it's something that I've worked hard, I prayed for, and guess what? It's a win. It's a win. Now, when I'm talking to you, we might have to cry together or whatever like that because I'm there, and those tears will be genuine. The advice, the listening will be genuine. But if I'm over here for 3 4 hours and I got to be here with you and we laying down, and guess what? And it's just a cry fest. That's fine. But if in 5 hours later I got a little party to get together or whatever like that, I'm going and I'm gonna be
Exactly.
happy. And it's
And
not that either one of them is disingenuous. That's just life. Life is full of highs and lows and everything in between.
and
Just
I
like the
think
40 spot, we talk about it all.
exactly. And I think that's just getting to the solutions piece of that. Solution is not in the idea of the dynamics are not going to change. The thing is, they're going to change. If
Mm-hmm.
people are growing, even if you're not moving, even if y'all had kids when you first met, something is going to change within the relationship, that the dynamic is going to shift. So the solution is not don't allow your dynamics to change. The solution is, I think, one is the understanding and a perspective. But just kind of going back to what you just said, is giving each other grace for things to be happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the given that example, it's a fictitious example, but the things that's going good for you, that could also lift me. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily make me sad. Like, or
Yeah.
even if the thing, let's say you're getting married, and I have a desire to get married, and like I would never want you to cover that up, but don't get excited about it because you don't want me to feel bad. And there may be a moment that I may feel like, dang, what's gonna happen for me? But that doesn't mean I'm not happy for you. And I want to
Right.
hear about all the good things. So like giving each other grace to have emotions, like you not covering it up and being like, well, I don't want to tell her because I don't want to feel bad. No, no, know that
Because it's
it's
like if
okay. Let
if
me celebrate
if you
you.
know that that's your true friend, you know they temperament, you know them well, especially if it's a friendship that has longevity. Guess what? Even if you are at your lowest, I can still tell you something, and I'm at the pinnacle of my peak of on top of the mountain, and it's not going to take away from neither one. And it's
Yes.
like you supposed to tell me or whatever, because guess what, there may be that time where it's just like they needed to hear that. So
Yeah.
for that 15 20 minutes or that hour, we're talking about something positive and everything like that. And then if it goes back to that, guess what, then they realize, you know what, even in the midst of all of this, I can still find joy, even if that joy comes from an outside source.
Yeah.
Guess what? I still found a moment to be happy, and that could be what you need to get you through some of those dark times and stuff.
Absolutely. Like my one of my other friends, when I was dealing with the miscarriage, because I was telling her that I felt bad. I felt bad telling people, which
Mm-hmm.
is weird. And I think because we're so conditioned to do life by ourselves, that we're supposed to
Mm.
be able to handle things by ourselves. We don't want to my word exactly was I didn't want to burden anyone else. Like I felt like people
Mm.
were dealing with their own things, be it bad or good, and I didn't want to add that in because I know, especially when you're close to people, that we tend to um
Take
attach.
on and
Yeah,
take on some of their own things as
exactly.
stuff, and I know I definitely have a habit of that where it's like I've had some friends that have been just going through, and then you and our conversation has been more about with them and how I feel about it. And then, it's like I physically start feeling what they're feeling and I'm down and it just plagues my mind and stuff like that. And sometimes it's not a okay, cut on, cut off type of
Right.
thing. And and I can understand where people they feel that particular way where it's like I don't want to burden you, especially if you know that person's that type of person that is going to take it on personally.
Right.
It's like they not crying with me, they
Crying
crying
with me.
too.
Yeah, like we in this
Like
thing together. And I think, and that's such a real feeling and that's a
mm,
real thing because, in relationships,
mm,
be it romantic or platonic friendship, you do want the best for you. So you don't want to bring in bad things. But one thing she told me, she was like, girl, this is what friendship is for. Let us be there for you.
right.
Why not allow us? And if we feel anything, let us feel that. Like, why do you want to stop people
Mm-hmm.
from feeling certain things? And it's a difference between, emotional vampires who just want to drain all the
Oh
energy from
yeah.
you and just want to dump all of these stuff on you. So they get a release from dumping on you, and then you
Mm-hmm.
walk away with it. That is very different. And just like, we are your friends,
Mm-hmm.
allow us to be. And I just remember, I can actually remember because I was driving the car. I remember exactly where I was when we were having this conversation. And it's crazy when I think about it now, or it's wild, excuse me for saying, I try not to use that word. But it's wild when I think about it now that I really thought that, like feeling like I don't want to burden y'all. And at the
Mm.
same time, it's like, well, isn't that the reason why we are friends, to be there through the highs and the lows?
It ain't always a
Allow
fun
it.
train.
Because sometimes if you don't allow people to be there, you get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower.
And I definitely think I have thought that before as well when I've seen or heard of people who not like for real medically diagnosed clinically depressed, like where was their friends, where was their family? And a lot of times people they suffer in silence.
Yep.
um and
They mask.
oh yes,
They
and
mask.
we'll have to do a show about this about how depression shows up in Black women. It is very, very opposite
Mm-hmm.
of what the criteria that you should meet to say that a person is depressed. And it also goes back to they don't do research on us. They don't do research on us where it could have been Black females that participated in some of those studies and stuff like that. But because this was the gold standard, you didn't fit that. It was like, well, no, you're not. But it's like, something ain't right with you.
Right.
So they just, well, something ain't right with you. Go on here.
You're
No, you
lazy.
ain't clinically depressed. You
You're
don't.
lazy. You have no motivation.
Yeah,
All these
and stuff
things.
like that
Mm-hmm.
where you just supposed to be, the female version of Hercules, and that's not that's not the case, especially not when I say Hercules, not physically but mentally. You supposed to have that type of strength. And also part of the solution is that you have to give yourself and the other person room to grow. These people are not going to be the same. Like, as I said,
Oh my
of
God.
all the dynamics that can change the dynamics of a friendship, those are things that are happening in people's lives, the relationships, the births, the deaths, the jobs, the moves, the education, even just aging in general. Those are all things like you have to give people these room for growth where it's like, you know what, you're not the same person that I met when I met you in
Right.
2005. Like, if I didn't give you room to be able to grow, like, the friendship is never going to have longevity. If not, it's going to be extremely, extremely superficial. And you'll be on the list like, you know what? She a day one, not a A1.
Mm.
Because it's a difference, because some people been there since day one, but it's like, you know what, I can count on them for certain things but not for all things, because I always say, like, you got friends that, you can go around the world with them without any problems. You got some people, guess what, we can travel to the United States. You got some people, it's just the city, and you got other people, I can't even go to the end of the road with you. So it's like, and I'm just talking about to the stop sign, the stop sign is closest to your house, and it's not even that far. Where you got some people like that's your friend, but guess what? We just good to have a telephone conversation, and we can pick up lunch or dinner every blue moon. But like on the big things, like, nah, you ain't that, you're not that person.
Yeah. I think that the thing we have to also do is when we face these changes and when these dynamics are really impacting our friendship, like even the question you said, is this a friendship that I'm willing to let go? And is this a friendship that I should? Because sometimes we're not willing and you
Mm-hmm.
should. And maybe not as like going forever, but this is what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really nothing that is going to change it. Maybe time will change it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of just kind of like we said earlier when we first met and you went, you were out of the country and I was doing whatever and we hadn't talked and we were able to find each other again. The
Mm-hmm.
dynamic changed, but we were able to find each other again. And, we were honestly, we were different people at that time as
Yeah.
well. Like there's some growth, there's experiences, and sometimes you have to know when it's time to be like, well, you know what, right now this is what it is. And that is very, very, very hard to do, especially
Absolutely.
when you love someone, when
Yeah.
you truly have a friendship, there's a genuine love. It's hard and you
Mm-hmm.
try and you still try to call or send text or whatever, and it's very hard, and sometimes you have to just let it be. Maybe it don't go completely away, but
Yeah.
trying to get back to where you were until it's being forced, that forcing is not gonna work.
No.
I have been there.
And sometimes you can't get back to where it was. You have to accept what it is now, and that can be difficult. And you have to go through a grieving process, because
Oh
a
yeah.
portion of that, what was there, is no longer. And if it's not there no longer, and it's nothing that you can go back to rekindle, to have again, that's death. It's a part of the relationship that has died. and
Yeah,
um
that's
and
good.
you definitely have to go through that grief. And some people feel like grief is only for when people pass away. No, grief is when there has been some type of loss, and it's a great loss, and you have to go through all of those changes in order to be back healed.
Yeah.
So what it needs to be. And also, part of it is also realizing seasons and reasons. Is this person here just for this season, or is this person here just for this reason? And when those things are over, you is not meant to go any further
Right.
or anything like that. And as Fernette, she said, you got to know when to hold them and fold them, and you got to know when to walk away and then when to run. That is
Yeah.
absolutely true. And I'm gonna just say this, and this um for the people, and then we can just, you can have your closing remarks, and we can just kind of wrap it up. um in the Bible, there is a story where Abraham was supposed to sacrifice his son, and God wanted him to go to the mountain to sacrifice his son. Now, on this trip, that there was Abraham, he on a donkey, the donkey, and people that know donkey are beast of burden. So like you can weigh them down with a lot of stuff and they can carry it. So
Mhm.
you got him on a donkey, you got his son on a donkey with a whole bunch of stuff, and he had four other people with him with a donkey on the stuff. When they get to the foot of the mountain, guess what? Ain't there but two people can go up. So you had six people that was there, six donkeys carrying a whole lot of stuff. But the bulk of the people could only go to that one spot. And then once they got there to that spot, two the foot of the mountain. Everything, the baggage and stuff, they still Isaac and his son and not his son, Abraham and his son Isaac, they couldn't tote everything. So they had what they needed to get them right there to the base of the mountain. And then they still had what they needed to get them up. But those friends who helped them get there, they couldn't go. That wasn't part of their mission. That was not part of the plan. And then once they got there, as we know, as the story goes, he went to go sacrifice him. But God said, no, God had a ram in the bush and the sacrifice the ram and not him. But I'm just saying that in terms of seasons and reasons. Sometimes people in your life, they only get you to that one point. They are never meant to go past it so that you can get to your place of promise. Because guess what? If you try to take them with you, that ain't what you need. You got too much of stuff. It's too much of baggage and everything. God's like, that baggage and that stuff was good just for that limited amount of time. But when I'm trying to elevate you to other places, sometimes people and the stuff is just too heavy. Things that fly can't be that heavy. It just can't.
That's
So
true.
just know your season and reason, and just know that guess what? Although it may be difficult, but once you get to that place where you need to be at, things will work out. Your blessing will be there. He came down off the mountain. Didn't it didn't say that they wasn't there again, or guess what? I
That's
just
true.
used you, but
They could have still been there. We didn't get the
I
rest of
just
that
needed
story.
you to get right here. And maybe they are the people that's down there at the base of the mountain. In case you fall, I'm here to get you.
Mm,
Maybe
that's
I'm here to
good.
catch you.
Or like once you reach that, then you can connect again. Because as you said, they had to come off the mountain. Not that seeing you gonna fall, but the idea of it didn't mean that they left them there. They didn't
Hmm.
say that when they came off the mountain, the people weren't there, the things
Right.
weren't there.
Yeah. But just look at it like that, if you want to. But that's my closing remarks. Just kind of just know, you know.
I mean, I don't have no closing remarks. That I mean, that was it. You surprised me with that. You went to the word. Listen, I ain't go to church today, but I just went to church today. That was the
I didn't go either.
word.
But
That was definitely a word. I don't have no closing remarks besides like I'm happy that we are still here.
yes.
I'm happy that, through everything in the 15 plus years that we have been friends, that we are
Mhm.
here now and
Mhm.
we're able to experience this friendship in life together,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of things that have happened in our lives that help us grow. Some stuff wasn't there to help us grow, child. It was here to destroy us, but we still here. And I'm happy to still be here, and I'm
yes.
happy to know, I know a lot of people say, no day ones or they no new friends. I'm not on that, but I am definitely happy to have someone who's tried and true. That's
Mhm.
one thing about a friendship, just relationships. You don't really know. You may feel like somebody gonna be there for you.
Mhm.
You don't know until times happen, whether it's good or bad. Because you can have a friend that's super close to you, and you have great things going on in your life, and they are absolutely not there to support you. They be
you
like,
got that
I'm not gonna
right.
be in your wedding, or they do everything to like sabotage what's going on for your
Mhm.
life. So it's not even just about people being there in your bad times. No, there are people who will not be there in your good times,
This is
and
true.
that piece is wow. So I'm just happy to have tried and true friends, and I'm happy to have that in you.
Mhm.
That
Thank you as
we
well. I
it's my
feel the same
girl.
way.
It's my girl. Period. Period. Pooh. That's why we went to the dinner with a view and didn't have dinner last
Right. I
night
ain't saying don't
because
go, but let me tell you something.
don't do the last one because you don't want to get jacked up. But
Yeah.
that's my closing remark. That when you do have those friendships and when you do go through the dynamic shifts, because you will go through it. It is not a if, it is a when.
Mhm.
Ask the magic question that Renee's aunt asked her. Is it worth it? Is it worth not having this person as a friend? Is it worth it? And if and that doesn't mean is the person worth it, because we obviously that person has value, but is the friendship, is what you're dealing with right now worth you trying to be there and force that friendship? Because it may not be. And that's the hard part, right? Like if you have that relationship and that love and that respect for someone, in that moment right now, it may not even be worth it because it's like I don't have the capacity that requires this relationship requires right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be honest with yourself about that. And as Renee said, sometimes when you're going up your mountain, hey, you have to let some people go. Some things have to be put on a pause because it's not worth it in the time. Not the person, because the person is always worth it and the person is always valued. But
Mm-hmm.
do you have the capacity? But I think that's a great question. And that's a great way to end. You know,
Yep.
just figure it out. Is it worth it? The dynamic shift is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So the question is, what will you do when it happens? And one of the major things that happen during dynamic shifts is birthdays.
Yes. Birthdays, and more birthdays. That is one thing that people is gonna do.
And honey, we gonna get older. Sometimes we get wiser. Sometimes we just get stupid. But first, we want to say happy birthday, A, to the March birthdays. Hey,
Yes.
hey,
I
yay.
do have one of my good friends, Jennifer, and actually her mother, Miss Diane. Both of them, their birthday is this month. Actually, her Jennifer's was yesterday. A good friend of mine, Lucan, her birthday. She's getting close to getting up out of this 40+ club. But guess what? We just thank God for her. Also, my cousin Yetta, her husband Nelson, his birthday is Thursday. I know y'all gonna be turning up and everything. So definitely just happy for them. And one of my childhood friends, Kiki Jeffrey Wright. So she is definitely having her birthday next Sunday. So definitely want to wish her a happy birthday, happy week. Turn up your whole month, whole month.
Yes.
And my friend Zita from New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, she had her birthday. I almost forgot. But yes, she was like, she had posted, she said, my birthday ain't over. Who said it was over? It's the whole
Hello.
month. So yes. You have any?
I have a couple. I have my cousin Alexis. Her birthday was early in the month, and I don't know if I missed it, but I want to make sure I say happy birthday. My line sister slash friend Chanel. Her birthday was at the beginning of March, and then my line sister slash friend and my flip, my number 15, Shalita. Her birthday is at the end of the month. So happy birthday. Thank you so much for being such a big part of my life. And I hope that you have a wonderful birthday. Listen, guys, we love to celebrate here at the 40 spot. So please
And for Nat,
let us
the one I other
know.
day was her nephew Emery is turning 15 on the 23rd.
Okay.
So all right, Emery, happy
Yes.
15th. He's a teenager, and
And her
I'm
cousin Eli. Her little cousin
Eli.
Eli.
Yes,
Ellie, I'm sorry.
Ellie
Ellie
turned
turning 13
13 today.
today.
I
Happy
don't know if
birthday.
they parents are in the 40+ club, but look, y'all young people, don't run
Yes,
them
you don't
people in their
have to be
40s up the
40
wall.
for us to celebrate you. Okay, we are all about celebrating life. As Renee said, life expectancy is 75, 76. So we need to celebrate every year, minute, second, nanosecond of it.
Oh
So we
yes.
want to celebrate. So if you have a birthday coming up, you have an anniversary that you're celebrating, if you have a new business, let us know. We want to use this time to celebrate you. Please email us at the40spot@gmail.com. It's the40spot@gmail.com, or you can slide in our DMs. We are active on social media, so we definitely will see it. And you can that on all social media. We are at the40spot at the40 spot. Please let us know so we can celebrate you and we can just live life with you, walk alongside of you in
Yes.
this life. This was a good topic. I
It
enjoyed
was.
it.
I did.
I
I
know we say
did.
that every week. Like we'd be surprised, like, girl, that was a good topic. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Because we both have had conversations with about other friends and the dynamics of how it changed and
Mm-hmm.
what can we do, and And now I think we definitely highlighted a lot of things and we given some people some things to think about and everything. But the conversation, as you said, it does not have to stop here. You can DM us, email us. Also, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to us on the replay, on wherever you listen to your Spotify, if it's Spotify or anywhere you get your podcast, please rate us, like
Yes.
us, follow us on
Download
there.
us.
Absolutely. As I say, so people don't have to scroll so far. Like when they put type in the 40 spot, it's like boom, that's us right there at the front. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to, and subscribe. Don't just like the page, follow the page if you're following us on Facebook, because liking the page and following us
It's
on Facebook is two
two different
different things.
things. Yes.
Yes, your support is everything. We want to continue to be able to give good content. We're gonna give good content no matter what. But if you following us, other people, they nosy on your page, they trying to see who you following, who your friends, what pages you like or whatever, and it's gonna send people on over so that we
Exactly.
can just continue to build this community, which the community is very, very grand anyway. And we are the people that's keeping America afloat because we're working people.
Honey, exactly. And like honestly, you having analytics is so important. With social media, there are some monetization. And honestly, that will help us because we wanna grow this community so
Yes.
large that we can do certain things like some charity events and different things like that. And yes, we can do these things on our own, but how much bigger and better can it be if we have some support? And with that, if you feel free and so inclined, you can send us a couple of dollars to
Okay.
Cash App at, well, it's the dollar sign
Dollar sign.
V40 spot.
Yes.
If you're so inclined, and like honestly, it's funny because it's like, why do people do that? Because people really be giving money, and that
Yeah.
can definitely help us with some things, some great things that we have planned for this year.
Yes.
But we do thank you for your support in any way, a like, a share, subscribe, a download, a watch, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you for that. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yep.
In the meantime, though, just remember, if it costs you your peace, it is too expensive. Y'all have
Yes.
a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll see you in 2.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye.